The Seattle Sounders make the playoffs for 10 of the 11 years.
Sounds right.
All right. Okay. All we know is that they missed last year's playoffs, and they're back in after 1 year hiatus, and so they beat the LA Galaxy 2-1. Russ, observations?
Yeah, it was. It got scary there for a moment. Obviously, happy for the new dad, Jordan Morris. We'll get into that a little bit later, but then it looked like a typical Sounders gonna blow it, and then the last seconds of stoppage time, they clinch a big win at home. So it's and clinch a playoff berth. So it's a big day here at Lumen Field.
And to your point, the kind of the history almost repeated itself. That is in terms of the Sounders score, in the 9th minute. Is that correct?
9th and 95th.
9th. So they're up 1-0,
Yep.
and then somehow in the second half they come out flat for about 10, 15 minutes. The Galaxy take advantage of that. And then to your point, 95th minute, it was the Alex Roldan to Atencio to Cristian Roldan.
Yeah, the Roldan brothers hooked up with a little Intencio sprinkled in there as well. And, that's big. Schmetzer talked about it. This team fights. This team never gives up. But I'm starting to wonder if, other teams in the MLS are like, hey, if you're down against the Sounders, don't panic because you have a chance to come back. I think the Sounders, I don't want to say stole this one back away from the Galaxy from stealing a point themselves. But at the same time, I don't think teams are necessarily worried about being down against the Sounders, but I also think the Sounders aren't worried about a team coming back. I think they are resilient. I think they are fighters, unbeaten in their last 8. So they're playing good form, but as Schmetzer said in the post game, fans hold them to a higher standard. So people say the Sounders are down, but second in the West, I believe. So,
As of right now, so let's do this. Let's hear from Brian Schmetzer, and I think we also have Jordan Morris post game interview.
So Raul has a sore back. He's going to be fine. That's an easy question. The challenging question is yes, because I think I've talked about it up here before. What do we do when we get ahead of teams? We've had a couple of 2-1 score lines or 2-0 score lines, and Colorado comes back, makes the game challenging. That's always hard. It's a fair question. We try and work on that. We try and message that. How do you close out games? Through more possession, through better defending. It's something that's hard. Usually what happens is human nature affects you a little bit, and then the other team, your opponent, doesn't want to lose, so they put a little bit more effort into the game. But we do need to do a better job of making sure we close out games, because that's important if you want to win a championship.
Thanks for waiting patiently on us.
Brian, talking about competition, they're going back and forth in the starting lineup between Josh and Obed, yeah, and just how it's playing out and making for a competitive side, and just what you said, doesn't matter who you put out, they're going to give the effort.
It makes a team better. What everybody has to understand, it's not an individual competition between certain players. It's competition, yes, it's pro sports, yes, but what it's doing is effectively making the team better, because the players are driving, they're playing against each other in training, trying to be the starter. It drives their individual development, which in turn helps them, both of them, when they step on the field.
Looked like you and Steph were talking about your celebration after the game a little bit. What did the other guys think of that particular?
Well, Steph was saying that it was for Taylor Swift with everything going on for Chelsea. So, but no, the guys liked it a lot, I think, and I was thinking about that one a little bit before the game, and was really hoping to score so I could do that for him.
Was there any feeling as the game winded down that you wanted to get to the playoffs on your own terms, not just back into it through another team's win?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I think we especially being at home, we knew that we wanted to win and clinch the playoffs on our own, but also continue to climb the standings or stay toward the top of the standings to be able to host playoff games. I think that's so important, is to be able to play those playoff games at home. So another big one on Saturday. Vancouver's a good team, close to us in the standings. I don't know how everything else went today, but we know that from experience hosting those playoff games is massive.
Jordan, how long do you keep not to be a buzzkill, but how long do you keep this win and, like you said, get ready for a big game on Saturday and continue the momentum you've created?
I think tomorrow, Friday, a lot of rest, recovery, watching film, so learn from what we did well tonight, what we can do better. But yeah, the focus switch is now pretty much to Vancouver and how we can get our bodies right, how we can get different things on the field to be a little bit cleaner. But yeah, that's the whole focus now is Vancouver.
I got here late, but can you just talk about the pass that was there? Because after you scored, the first thing you did was, your celebration, and then you went and celebrated the pass. Can you just talk about the cut you made in the pass and the execution?
JP, it sums up him as a player with the incredible work ethic to win the ball back, and then puts in a great cross for me when I'm playing up front. I just try to be dangerous and see if I would be dangerous in the box and get on the end of things. Fortunately was able to do that and had to go celebrate JP because it's a great ball, but then went off to do the celebration for Theo. So it's it was an awesome moment.
Thanks. Okay, so there you had it. You heard Brian Smetzer and then Jordan Morris just talking about his the goal, and he took us through that beautiful pass, João Paulo, and then so that was the 9th minute, and then obviously we just talked about the Roldan to Atancio to Roldan, which then Sounders win. I have a different take on it. I really think that the Sounders, and I'm doing the homer thing here, I think it's more of the gritty that they will always come back. So teams actually have to say, you know what, this team will always come back no matter what. I get your point, right? Like other teams say we can come back, but there's also an element of it. This team never says die.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Freddy's Halloween time, you know what I mean? Keeps on coming like someone in a scary movie. So and that is a good trait to have going to the playoffs, I think.
Yep, 100%. It was tossed out as a fun question to end the interview with Schmetzer. Who do you want to play? And of course, Portland was thrown out there in the new format. You were foaming at the mouth to have Portland too, but people, I think, in the Seattle area and hearing Portland at home in playoffs might worry them a little bit. But yeah, I think this is a team that could beat anybody. Still little cracks where they could be knocked off by anybody as well. But, if you could beat anybody and get into the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, man, you're right. I'm foaming at the mouth. Let's go. Let's get a Portland.
He had Voodoo
Seattle.
Donuts ready to go. he had MapQuest
Power
out.
books too.
Yeah.
I mean, because we like to read a little
He
bit.
had every coffee joint down the I-5 ready to go.
But the donuts, absolutely. Yeah. And so, to your point, it's a really close, race right now because I think, from number 2 to number 8, theoretically the Seahawks, the Sounders could finish number 8. It probably won't happen, but mathematically that's how close it is.
I believe Vancouver's coming in here, Saturday, and they're 3 points behind?
That's a great call.
So, I mean, just because you clinched a playoff spot doesn't mean you clinched a good one. So there's still a lot of work to be done. Only a couple games left here in the regular season. Teams are starting to weed themselves out of who's not going to make it. But now it's all about the shuffling of who's going to be where from 1 to 8.
And to do that, you have to be consistent going into the playoffs. Yeah. And that's really what you want to do. You don't want to go in the playoffs on a loss or draw, something like that. And I think it was real important today. Brian Smith, coach speak, mind you, he stressed that, they took this game. They got themselves in the playoffs as opposed to backing in. So Vancouver on Saturday. I don't know the Cascadia standings there, but it's a big game, and hopefully it's a prelude to the Seattle Timbers game. But for post game on the pitch, he's Russell Brown. I'm Asvita Mara Era. Thank you all for watching.